Yeah, it was telling
Okay.
me
Yeah,
that I was on mute and I was trying to figure out that, and I can't get the picture back. But we can do it this way.
I started the recording just to be sure, so I don't forget.
Okay. So the other guy, you're gonna allow him to get licensed, huh?
The guy from Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Well, I think, well, I don't know, Billy, I don't want to talk over.
Well, I think Rich, he's pretty much met the requirements for education, for inspections, and a home inspector exam. Then he's kind of punched all the tickets. That's one angle, and then the other angle is Bob was just saying that he's going to apply for Massachusetts, and if he gets a Massachusetts license, we've got reciprocity with Massachusetts, so he would just get it that way anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. When I got his email back, I mean, that's kind of, that would kind of, assuming that the training that he has is acceptable, and from what I've seen him, he's completed multiple training courses.
We've approved the pillar to post courses.
Yes.
So, and that's what we took.
Yeah,
So.
I was reading what he had there. It looked like it would meet.
Yeah. So I think he's punched all the tickets as far as I can tell.
All right. I know Larry I talked to him this morning. He was going to try to set up at a McDonald's or something because he's got an inspection.
Yeah, I just talked to him a few minutes ago. He was about 10 minutes away from a Dunkin' Donuts that he was going to that had Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So he'll pop in. And I don't know about what happened to Bruce. I talked to Bruce yesterday, and he was going to be here, and I don't see him.
He asked me for the link. I sent him I sent him an email saying that the link.
I don't know.
The original link was sent, via his old email, but I also sent him. I sent him, told him he could connect with the link that's in the agenda that I sent him. I resent the agenda to him, and then once he joins, I can upgrade him to panelist, so he can talk.
Okay.
Because I don't really know how to. I don't know how to, to resend the original link that the panelists get when I created the meeting.
I just forwarded that email to him.
The one you got?
Yeah. I assume the link is in it.
The one you got from Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay. There's Larry.
Hey, there's Larry.
I don't know how to get the picture on here.
Larry, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you may need to get a little closer.
All right. For some reason, maybe it is. Let's see. It says on there, but
No, now we can't hear you, Larry. Can't hear you. See your voice, can see your lips move, but can't hear you. Is there a mute in the top right of your screen, of your frame?
I couldn't find mine either.
Oh, now can you hear us, Larry? Oh, you back off. You're on mute, Larry. Check yourself off mute. There, now you just took it off mute. You should be there. Can you hear? Yeah, we got you. Oh, no, you're cutting in and out. Huh, I wonder what's going on with your audio.
Let's see. Hang on, Larry.
Yeah, better. You're cutting in and out. Now you're on mute again. Now you're off. Can you move closer to the mic? Just move closer to the screen. I think it's usually on the screen somewhere. I don't know. We're not getting your audio.
Nothing? No.
I wonder if you can call in, Larry. There's a phone number on there.
No. He's on mute now. Now he's off.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, you're fine, Rich.
I can hear you.
I just
I
don't
can
get
hear
a
you,
picture.
Rich.
You just don't get my picture, that's all. For some reason. Can you guys see me?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't have an idea what I gotta do for that, but you just have to not look at an ugly face for a meeting.
Hmm.
Larry, you want to try calling in? You can use the phone and then the video off the computer. I've got the call info. Can you hear me? Oops, we just lost you.
Hi, this is Pamela.
Hi, Pam.
I just stayed unmuted because I see that we're working through getting everyone on board.
Yeah. Just having trouble bringing Larry on.
I got Bruce on the phone here. Let me see what's going on with him.
Now, is Janita Hamill listed as a panelist? Is she on?
She was sent an invitation. She's not. I don't see her here, Pam. Look, I don't see her as a participant right now.
All right, let me just check on her. 1 second.
I'm here. Hello.
Yeah, that's strange. You're not listed, but
I'm listening. Can you hear me?
Promoted Bruce.
Hey,
Yep.
Bob, can you see Bruce? He says he can see us, but he can't get in. Oh, here he is.
I just brought him on.
Okay,
He has
Bruce,
to unmute.
should be all set.
Bob, this is Janita. Can you hear me?
Bruce, you got it?
Yes. Bruce has to, I can hear you, Janita.
Can you hear me now, Bill?
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
got you, Bruce.
on the phone.
Okay.
Where's Bruce? Okay.
All right, Bill, let me just hang up there. Okay. All right.
So Bruce is here. Good.
Bill, I called you about, let me just hang this up here. Okay. I called you. I had an intern come. He took a test in New York. He passed the test. He took the course. He got his license. Then he called Bob up and he got a Connecticut license. So he came to apply to me for a job. So I took him out with me on an inspection. And after the inspection, I said to him, okay, how many paid inspections have you been out on now? And he said none.
How do you
So
get the Connecticut license?
because he got a New York license.
We have reciprocity with New York?
Yeah.
Well, it's not, well, we consider reciprocity with any state, but a New York applicant, there's a specific list of requirements they have to submit. And it's substantial equivalency to what we require in our internship program, including a module on inspections. They usually submit a module. I mean, I don't know who the applicant is, Bruce, but
So he would have had to, for Connecticut, to get his license in Connecticut, he would have had to show he had done 100 paid inspections?
or the substantial equivalency to that. You know, I mean, the board basically considered, you know, the overall package of what the applicant has. Sometimes they have more training, sometimes they have more inspections, but there's usually a modules of that are required to be completed as a part of their application. And one of them is an inspection module that the board has accepted.
So, but it should include paid inspections, I would assume, right?
Yes. It includes an
Bruce,
inspection.
can you send the information on this guy to Bob so we can kind of track down what happened?
Yeah, I can look it up. I just don't know. You know, I asked him how many paid inspections. He said none. He did his house. He did a friend's house. He did, you know, an uncle's house, and that's all he had done.
Did he do any inspections with somebody in New York? He had done no inspections. what you're
He
saying.
just told me he has done none paid inspect. You know, that didn't know. He just took the course, and then he applied for the intern. Then he took the test. He passed the test, and they gave him his license.
Did he intern in New York?
I didn't go any further than that.
Okay, well, why don't you send Bob the info and he can,
Send me an email, Bruce, and I could follow up on it and see the details on his credential.
Okay, all right, I can do that.
good.
But that's, you know, New York won't take Connecticut.
Right. And we don't take New York, I don't think, one for one. We kind of look into it, right, Bob?
Yeah, I could send you. I mean, we kind of settled on a response that we sent to New York applicants that I had sent to the board a couple years ago. It's a pretty lengthy list of requirements that we look for based upon our statutes and regulations, and that's what they usually send as a standard reply when someone applies with a New York license. And they usually, in turn, send all copies of their modules, copies of proof of passing the New York exam, and so forth. I could send that to you if you want.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
After the meeting.
Yeah, I'd like to see that,
Yeah.
Bob, if you could send it to me.
Yeah.
Bill, I think we've been doing reciprocity with New York.
Do we have it with Mass? I didn't think we had it with Mass either.
We do. We have it with
Yeah.
Massachusetts. We have for many years.
Oh, so we can apply for a Massachusetts license with our license?
Yep. And they can apply for ours, Connecticut with theirs.
I see.
Massachusetts is the only state we actually have that direct relationship with.
Well, I didn't know that. Do you have a Mass license, Bill?
No.
No.
Never wanted to work up there, so. Any progress with Larry?
He's still on mute.
I think he's trying to dial in now.
So I wasn't in because Bob didn't let me in. Was that the problem?
I
Well, yeah,
guess.
you came up as an attendee, right? When you join the link that I sent you this morning, Bruce, that's the link that goes to the public. And then I have to promote you to panelists, which I did.
I see.
The original link, from here going forward, the original link, I mean, I sent it to your old email. I didn't know your email had changed until a couple
Okay.
days ago. So,
All right, that's all right.
all right.
This is amazingly frustrating. You can see them
Yeah.
clearly, but you can't.
All right. I'm waiting for him to throw that phone down.
Or right through the screen.
All right.
So how you feeling, Bob?
I'm okay, Bruce. I'm okay. Yep. I'm doing all right.
So you lost a lot of weight, huh?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's been quite an odyssey over the last couple of years. I did. Thank
I'm
you.
glad,
Go away to lose it.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you. No luck with Larry?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yay, we got him.
All
Good job.
right, but I've lost my video now, so I'm
Well, we
on
can
my
see
cell
you.
I
phone.
can see you.
We can see you.
me? All right,
I can
I'm,
see you,
all
Larry.
right.
I can see you.
All right, let's
We got it.
All right.
let's get underway here.
Hang
then.
on a second.
Hey,
All right,
Bob?
there. All right, I can see Bill, I can see Bruce, I can see Bob. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Janita,
You guys
you got
can
a
hear me,
question?
okay.
Hey, Bob, this is
Yes,
Janita.
yes.
It shows Pamela Brown's name twice up there instead of my name because
Okay.
she forwarded me the link and I clicked on the link. I'm not muted, she is, so Pam shows up twice.
Okay.
That's correct.
Oh, okay. All right, should we get started?
Yeah, I just want to say that before we start here, I'm in this Dunkin' Donuts. I don't like it. I don't like my computer being accessible, so I'd like to get through this meeting ASAP. Okay?
Well, if you want to turn the computer off, Larry, and just talk on the phone, you can do that.
Yeah. Well, let's just go a little ways and see what happens.
Okay.
I just not real
Okay.
comfortable with this. So, okay.
All right. So we'll call the meeting to order for the September meeting of the Home Inspection Licensing Board. Can somebody move the minutes? Any comments about the minutes from the last meetings? Motion on the minutes?
They looked okay to me. I move to accept.
Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Is that Bruce that seconded? That was Bruce?
Yeah, Bruce, yep.
Yeah, I second it.
Okay. Comments or concerns of anyone present today? I don't think there's anyone present, so that's done. DCP Investigation Division Complaint Status Report. I assume that's why Pamela and Janita are here?
Yeah,
Yes, and Janita's going to report out for the board today.
Okay, great. You're on.
okay, bear with me
Yeah,
because,
You have the reports, guys. I sent.
yep, we have them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I looked at them. Yep.
okay. Because of not knowing the last time that we had met, I went back and went from January 1st of 2020 to May 31st of 2020. And then the next report that you got was from June 1st to July 31st. So in the January to May section, we had received a new complaint, and there were 5 cases that were closed.
Right.
For, oh my God, I'm sorry, that's the Glacier report. I am so sorry. Don't know my alphabet. I apologize, gentlemen, especially
No.
for the gentleman who's at the Dunkin' Donuts.
It's all right. It's all right.
But I think, I
Okay.
mean, we have very low
had,
numbers too.
During that time frame, and again, my apologies, we have received 4 new complaints. There was one that was open before that was closed, and there were 2 that were currently closed. Of the 2 currently closed, one was a duplicate that was entered twice by the complaint center, and the second complaint that you see against Kevin Morey is listed as a duplicate complaint, and that's
Okay.
how it was closed.
Okay,
So are there any,
Okay.
so we're good with that?
yep,
Okay. Then, clicking on the right board report, I do apologize again. We received 2 new complaints that are being investigated, and there was a complaint case that was closed.
Be right back.
The consumer accepted the refund as a show of good faith, and they signed a release with the home inspector that says, yeah, I got my money back, I'm happy, and they're good.
okay,
Okay.
A lot of what we see with the with the home inspector complaints, people don't understand the home inspector's list of exclusions, and they think that if they buy the house and they had a home inspection and then they find later something happened, they forget that the home inspector said, oh, you really need to contact a heating contractor to check out that furnace. Or, oh, from looking from the ground, because we don't expect them to climb on the roof, the shingle's looking a little shaky, you might want to consider having the roof done. So it's a lot of money issues that way.
mm-hmm.
But that's what I have. Gentlemen, do you have any questions? Even though I'm Janita Hamill, not Pam Brown the second.
Well, thank you very much. I think, once again, our complaint level is, to us anyway, seems like it's very low given the number of transactions that are going on out in the marketplace right now. So, and it seems like they seem to get resolved typically. So I think, to me anyway, it looks like we're in pretty good shape. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would.
And just to place emphasis on what Janita is saying about the complaints that we're receiving, I think if the inspectors, and I'm not sure what the business model is or what people are doing, but it seems like most people say that they received the report and it wasn't really discussed with them, so they, like Janita's saying, if they were maybe told and say, hey, you have this issue with your deck, hire a carpenter, or cooling system, make sure you get this HVAC guy out there, that would be helpful. And because mainly when we see, when we're reading these complaints, we do see the disclosures that are there. And maybe people aren't legally savvy, or, they're focused on buying that house and they're not really paying attention to what they're signing. But anything that we can do to help the customer, it would be your customer, the customer in the industry, the prospective buyer would be helpful and perhaps reduce a complaint. But I do agree with you, Mr. Chairman, that the complaints are down and are not so blatant or a high number that we have to really be concerned about, given the industry and given the amount of homes that are purchased, especially this time of year.
So I'm hearing two, well, I thought I heard two different things. One is we have exemptions and exclusions that we don't cover in the report. And that's one thing, but then another, it sounded like maybe there's also an issue with the people are not completely reading the report and missing things that the home inspector put in the report. Is it, which one of them?
Or that could be a couple of things. So I'm saying that, just, for industry to help, maybe a discussion of the findings would be helpful. Complainants will say, well, they never told me that. Well, it's written in the
Normally,
report.
that's done during the inspection.
Yeah, I think most inspectors do review at the end of the inspection, they'll sit with the client or talk to the client and say, okay, so we've done this big inspection. Here are the things that we've really found that are significant that you ought to be aware of. I think most guys do that, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I hope so. That was because some of the reports I do read when I get, when we're doing these reports, I'll read some of the cases and, it's always going to be a default. I didn't know that, or I signed the contract. That's really the buyer's onus to be, reading their contracts is understanding what they're signing up for. But a lot of times they say, oh, we received the report and maybe they didn't go over it with me or something like that.
Okay.
But if they're doing everything great, we have to make broad decisions and not just for the chosen few or the select few. So.
All right, well, let's keep that in mind for if that continues to be a theme, then maybe we can send something out to the inspectors to say that it's becoming a theme with complaints and that maybe the guys ought to do a little better job reviewing what the issues are with them.
Sure. Thank you.
I think maybe a possibility that we could mention to inspectors is that along with the disclosure that we're giving, that perhaps we include the page of exclusions and inclusions. Some guys give out the entire regulation. I know I do not, but the exclusions are pretty much covered in my agreement. But perhaps a page of the exclusions, might be helpful, along with the disclosure,
Or the standards of practice.
Yeah.
Because it used to be that we handed out the standards of practice, and then maybe 3 or 4 years ago, the regulation was amended, and they no longer require that we hand it out. So maybe there's something to be said about even just. I imagine most people are doing their confirmation or appointment confirmation by email. You could just send a copy along that way too.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. That. When we send a contract, we give them the standards also. And one of the other things that Bill, you and I were talking about is that the number of complaints we have are so small compared to the number of inspections that are done within the state. That's even hard to identify, what is the problem or not a problem at this point.
It's a very small sample, you're right. But, if people continue to say that they didn't know about the disclosures or what was included, then it would be pretty simple. I mean, if everybody did what you were doing, Bruce, then there wouldn't be any discussion about it, probably.
Yeah. And the other thing is that, first of all, we have it signed ahead of time. We have it sent to them ahead of time. We're able to see that they opened the email and got it ahead of time. So there's a good trail to make sure that, they've received this information. They said they reviewed it as a part of it. And then they sign that they're willing to have an inspection by that process.
Okay.
Yeah. I know one of the things I hear from real estate agents, especially, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good, Larry.
Okay. Is that some of these reports that guys are given are, 200, 250 pages of stuff. And agents are saying, we're not, we're not looking through all this stuff. A buyer is just overwhelmed by all this information, but that's how some guys like to do it. I think the less, the better. So either the standards or a page of the exclusions, I think would be helpful. Because like I say, some inspectors are using these programs that are just dumping 250 pages of, of stuff. So,
Well, Larry, you
All right,
know as well as I do, if the realtor doesn't like it, you're not getting many inspections. They're hurting their business.
well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. There's no question about that. But it's just something that's come up, especially it seems like this summer, but so.
And that's a good point. I know I recently purchased a home and I think my inspection was like 90 pages.
Yeah.
And then you're also, as a
I
buyer,
mean, yeah.
you've got to respond to that
Yeah.
inspection, put things on notice the seller of the things that you want done within a matter of days. So people will probably have to rush through that whole process. And perhaps
Yeah.
that could be a reason why they're not really reading these reports, or they're saying they're not,
Yeah.
they
Most
weren't aware of
reports
it.
should come with a summary page. I mean, there should be some summary page, and the summary page should have identified the items that are critical to the inspection.
Did you get some kind of summary, Pamela, or was it just 90 pages of stuff?
No, I received the summary page, but I read through every single page. Being that I work for DCP, I made sure I set aside an hour and a half, and I went through every single page.
Well, you're
Wow.
you're not like most, so that's great. You're thorough. That's excellent.
But 90 pages is really quite a lot. That's,
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there was,
I mean,
these are
granted,
upgrades or photos, and it was,
a lot
I
of
think
them
the
are
report was
pictures.
good, but it was extensive.
yeah.
All right.
I think the
All
other
right.
thing that seems to, what we do as a company is that if there's a critical aspect, if we're going to point out a defect or we're going to show something that's a problem, we're going to take a picture and put it in the report. So, I'm finding a lot of our customers are looking at the pictures, going through and not reading, they're not reading all our disclaimers. They're not reading a lot of the fine print. They want to get to the bottom line and see what the problems are. And you're able to do that. I find a picture to be better than even the verbiage.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think then let's see what we see at the next meeting. If we continue to see this idea that people are not aware of what the issues are at the time of the inspection, then maybe we need to do as Larry says, do what Bruce does already, send out the standards with, somehow get it to them beforehand. Any other questions for Pamela or Janita?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you, ladies, for being here this morning and helping us with this.
Not a problem. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good day. Stay safe and well out there. Thank you.
Thank you. You
Have a good
too.
day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Bill, I just want to say once again, I think that we're pretty lucky as a group here that we're not getting thousands of complaints.
Oh, I agree. It's up.
Yeah.
Because I think that, I ran my numbers. I think there's over 100, there should be, thousands, 100,000 transactions.
A year, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for the volume that's clearly going on right now, it's amazingly low. And a couple of those, at least one of those is somebody we all know very well, and we know he's a reputable guy. So there's something else probably going on there, would be my guess.
Right.
I don't think people read the report sometimes.
I know that's the case, Rich. I know that's.
I mean, the other thing that you have going on right now is that there's so much volume. People are just happy to get an inspection.
Yeah.
And they're not even, they're so worried about messing up a deal that they're not asking for what they normally do during normal times. So that's why at this point, you're a lot better off if you're real critical on an inspection, tell them everything. You should really make it clear everything from, restaining the deck to chip paint on the outside, or, a small piece of rotted wood. You want to tell them everything, because, the complaints that we may get will be something like, we didn't probe a door and they found some rotted wood in the door.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, let's see what happens at the meeting and see what we get for complaints then too.
yeah.
Let's move on then to old business. And Bruce, you were going to look into the pyrotite testing from Trinity College. Did you
Yeah,
ever-
I did. So I actually called and talked to Gary Priestka of Core Boring. It's in, if you look up Trinity concrete analysis and you look at that on the web, it will bring up a page that has some information on it. So I wasn't able to talk to Trinity College directly, but I did talk to Gary, and if you wanted to, we could even get him on the meeting now, because he explained to me what's going on with this concrete. Now, the last time we had spoke about it, I had said to you that even if they have a pyrotite in it, there are certain levels that they're saying are safe. So have any of you read a report from Trinity College?
No.
Yes, I've read many.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
All right. So on that report, they're going to have the sulfur content, they're going to have the pyrotite content, and they're going to also have a rating for loss of negativity. And what he said was, if you have a small amount of pyrotite and you have 0 sulfur and you have very low negativity, then the water is not getting to it and it's not going to be an issue in the future. So what he also said is that they have not come up with a direct standard, but they do know that there's this low reading of all the elements, that they could make a determination that that foundation will not have a problem if it does have some low level pyrrhotite in it.
What does loss of negativity mean?
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure of that myself, but I think what he was saying is,
I think it has to do with the magnetism of the iron. I think.
I think you're probably right. The main thing he was saying is that they could do a reading and a determination of the moisture going through the concrete, because if no moisture ever gets to the pyrrhotite, then it's not going to have a reaction.
Right.
But they need a
Right.
core sample to do that?
Yeah, they do a core sample. Yep.
Right. Right.
So is that, Larry, you said you see a lot of these. Have you run into this at all?
Well, I've seen their reports, and quite frankly, core sampling is not recommended around the area by the real estate people or myself, for example, because of that lack of a standard. Buyers are seeing a report with a trace amount of pyrrhotite and saying, well, there's pyrrhotite and we're out. And so that's a problem. And now it also becomes a disclosure responsibility for the poor seller, who now has his house back on the market and he has a written report saying that his foundation has pyrrhotite. So, they're out there, they're doing cores. One of the leaders of this coalition out here of homeowners that was developed a few years back, he thought it would be wise to get into the core sampling business, and so that's what he does, and he works closely with Trinity, but he hasn't really sold off to the real estate industry that that's the thing to do.
Is that core
know,
solution? Is that core solution?
Maybe. I don't know the name of it. It might be. It might
His
be.
name-
I know the guy's
Gary,
name.
Gary Prisha.
No, that's not the coalition guy. His name was, well, I'm under pressure. I can't think of it. So, Heim, Tim Heim.
Yeah.
That's his name. Yeah. But, until there is, and if there is ever some kind of a standard, then, you don't need a core test to qualify for the money. So why do it?
Right. Oh, I agree.
That's
So what I'll do is
a lot of
I'll reach
the
out-
opinion.
I'll reach out to Trinity and go right
Yeah.
to the source and see if they come
Yeah.
up with a standard. Because I think what I hear from you, Larry, is you want to be, the only way it's going to be effective is if they take a core bore, there's low peritite, low amount in there, and they declare it not to be a problem.
Do
Right,
they actually see that in their
yeah.
reports, that it's not a problem?
What's that?
I don't think they're that clear saying that you do not have crumbling concrete or that you never will. I don't know that they're going to go out on that limb, but
All right. Well, I'll call
No.
Trinity directly and try to talk to them, and I'll report back
Yeah.
next meeting.
Okay.
they did write a report, and it might have been in along with this guy Heim. I'm not sure if he contributed to the report, but Trinity did write a report, and sort of why one would want to do core testing, and I mean that'd be something to read over. If you mention that to him, Bruce, it was probably in the springtime or something that report came out. I have it. I have it somewhere, but I'd have to really find it.
All right, well, if you do
Um,
find it, send it to me, Larry.
Yeah, or if you're speaking with him again, just mention about it, and they'll probably have a easier access to it than me. But
Yeah, that's fine.
but they talk about it and why it may be beneficial and why everybody's doing it and so on and so on. But in reality, not too many are doing it. And the big thing is you don't need to do it to qualify for the assistance.
Well,
Is,
it put you in a position where you have to discuss perhaps some peritite.
somebody.
That's going to kill any
Okay.
sale you possibly have.
I'm sorry, there were two guys talking at once. I didn't get either one of you.
I said,
How do you get in on this anyway?
Okay. Chairman, come in and direct someone to speak.
So Rich, what's your question? How do you get in on what?
I'm asking Larry if he's finding that some of these appraisers are squashing loans because of evidence of core samples.
Yeah, you're very garbled, Rich. I couldn't understand what you said.
Can you get closer to the mic,
Okay.
maybe?
Is there any evidence that evidence of core samples squashing any of these loans because of the appraisers pointing it out?
I have heard that. A bank won't go near a core tested house. But the experience I've had more often is that the core test comes back with trace amounts of peritite, and the bank may not even be involved at that point. And they just don't, they walk away because of those trace amounts. That's been what's happened more so than a bank rejecting a core test and rejecting a mortgage app because of a trace amount of peritite in a report. At least that's been my experience, Dan Coyne would probably have a lot more information on that as well. But yeah, I know I wouldn't allow a buyer to core test my house if I were selling it and I were in that date range and in the ground zero areas, and a buyer came in and said, well, we want to do a core test. I would say no, period. No. That's it.
Yeah.
And-
that's what I was saying, Bill, that it all comes down to there needs to be a standard for low amounts of peritite and it still be okay. And otherwise, there's no
Right.
real reason to do a core boring.
Yeah, if somebody's
Right,
willing to
yeah.
say that. So you're going to call Trinity and see what they're willing to say.
Yeah, I'm going to try to identify whether they'll go that far and say something.
Okay, then we'll just
Right.
read this next meeting. Okay,
Okay.
that sounds like a plan. So let's move on to new business. So the first is a couple of emails from this guy, Michael Gothier, who's got questions about interns and which I guess he's
Mr.
withdrawn
Chairman, if I can,
that he had
Bill?
about, what, go ahead, Bob.
I'm sorry, Bill. We got a subsequent email from him asking that really the board, he wants to withdraw the question concerning the detail of the home inspector report,
Okay,
and he wants to
Good.
the board to just address the email concerning interns.
and this one was whether, about what interns included in the report and why is he responsible for what the interns did or didn't include in the report? That essentially his question, as I recall.
That's the one, right? The intern. Let's see. I'm looking at the email, the letter, the document I sent to the board. Questions. Why is it that when a licensed home inspector takes on an intern, is the licensed home inspector responsible for what the intern sees and decides not to write, either forgetting or elsewise? You see that email? It's from him dated July 28th.
Yeah,
That's the one I think he wants the board to address.
yeah,
Well,
I
that's
mean,
because we need somebody responsible.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
He's stepping into
Well, then
the
I
shoes
think
of the inspector.
I think he goes on to say that how can the licensed home inspector be responsible for what the intern sees? Is that how he kind of framed the ending of his question?
Yeah,
Bob, you see that?
it doesn't report, I guess.
Well, when you're doing an internship, the person who's interning someone should be doing their own inspection to make sure that the intern finds everything, because it's not just letting your intern out and whatever he finds you go with. That's the reason for the internship.
Well, that's you're training him. So that's
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of surprising to me this guy's even asking this question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sounds as though he let the intern do everything. He stayed in his truck, and then he used the report from the intern, and then the intern didn't find everything.
Right.
Is he the inspector
Never
not
had an
in,
intern, I guess. This guy says he's not the intern, but
Yeah.
he's curious
Right.
about why it's set up this way.
Right, yeah.
But you know what?
I
I
mean,
can try
that's
to
what-
draft a response and I can shoot it out to you guys and see what you think, and then we can just send it off to him.
Yeah.
How's it-
Yeah,
I
that
think you
sounds
have
like
to
a good
say
idea.
something- I think you have to say something, Bill, like, we're a board and we're consumer oriented. We want to make sure the consumer is getting the right job. And when an intern is on the job, it's really the responsibility of the person who's interning to make sure that they're getting the information they need to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
well, I mean, they're taking on that responsibility. They're taking
Yeah.
on that responsibility to train, and that's the responsibility. I mean, it seems like kind of a crazy question to me, but
agree.
yeah, I mean, and stay out of the water, if you don't like the way it's arranged. I mean, but you're training to do a visual inspection, so you're responsible for what you're training him to look for. I mean,
Don't take on internships.
Yeah.
that's right. I mean, that's why he's getting paid, to do the training.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
believe this
I
guy's
wouldn't spend a lot of time on that, Bill.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
It should be
okay.
it'll be a pretty short response.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
Larry,
think
could you
that's
give
all it
me a
needs to be.
Boston cream?
I could. They're looking pretty good from here, I'll tell you that. Yeah,
What was that?
I'll get a dozen for everyone.
Yeah, we'll be over.
All right,
right,
that sounds
so-
good.
We'll move on to this guy named Peter Hackett, who, and help me out, Bob, if I get this wrong, but he's licensed in Rhode Island. He's done a few hundred home inspections in Rhode Island, paid
Yes.
inspections. He's got he's been trained by pillar to post. So he's got a lot of training, but he hasn't taken the Connecticut exam, and he wanted to get into Connecticut by reciprocity. Obviously, we don't have reciprocity with Rhode Island, but it turns out now, Bob was telling me earlier that a couple things. One, he's going to take the National Home Inspector exam in October, and he's also applying for a Massachusetts license. So if he takes the, to my thinking, if he takes the National Home Inspector exam, he's already done all the Rhode Island, he's already done all the training. We can give him a license if he passes the National Home Inspector exam. That's number one. Number two, if he gets a Massachusetts license, then we can give him a license because he's got a Massachusetts license. So I think this thing's going to solve itself in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Bill. I mean, that was, when I saw that email, not to speak for the board, but I agree with what you just said. I think if he had passed the National Home Inspector exam, I think from his level of training, certainly it's the minimum requirements.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that? I mean, it sounds like it's going to kind of go away.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's going to solve itself. But then moving forward, perhaps we should look at whatever we have to do to maybe get reciprocity with Rhode Island.
Yeah, I guess.
Does Rhode Island have licensing now?
Yeah, they've had it for a long time. When we were doing the deal with Massachusetts on reciprocity, Rhode Island had passed their law, but they had not funded getting regulations in place and sort of establishing the licensing process. And I guess subsequently they've done that, but we don't know much about what their requirements are. I wonder, Bob, if it's possible for you to contact your counterpart in Rhode Island and see if they could send us some information on what it takes to become a licensed inspector in Rhode Island. And then we can decide whether that's something where we want to establish reciprocity or discuss it with them anyway.
Okay, that sounds good.
Is Bob there? He disappeared. Hello, Bob.
I lost a picture. It got
I think we're on our own, guys.
All right, all right.
To me, that's what I think we should do. Bob, get
That's
some.
fine. That's fine. I second that.
Okay, so let's do that.
All right.
I think we're almost done. I don't think we have anything else on the agenda.
Right.
It wasn't, didn't make the agenda, but there was the idea of, continuing education and so on with the COVID.
Yeah, I wrote that in here, yeah. So I got an email from Dan, I can't remember what Dan's last name, who's head of the CAHI, about
Christensen, yeah,
about what's going on.
something like that.
CEUs. And we had talked a few months ago about whether, there'd be any accommodation made because CAHI's not having meetings and most of their members, that's how they get their CEUs. So Richard, I'd sent something to Richard to ask about what's going on with other boards. And I guess a few other boards have now allowed their people to do online continuing ed, which they hadn't been able to do before. We've always been able to do online. So that really doesn't help. Apparently, he sent me the section, I can forward it to you. The requirement for our 20 CEUs is in the statute. So that's hard to change. But
Right.
I don't think the date that it has to be done by is in the statute. So one thing we could consider doing is instead of having the due date be the date of license renewal next year, which is June 1 or whatever it is, we could extend that date to December 30 or something, so that they'd have another 6 months to get all the required CEUs for this license cycle, which is something I think we can talk about, and we can do that next meeting if we want to.
I think that's reasonable. And the other thing I talked to you about, Bill, was that I know for under $100 you can go
Back
on.
up.
No, excuse me, board. I lost. I'm connected by VPN,
Oh,
and I lost the VPN connection. I'm sorry.
okay.
Okay.
I'm back.
So
So Bill, I agree with you that, there's other ways to get the credits. You can get it through you know, I get a lot of the credits online through, I think it's called Kesson Online, and
Can you send me some info on that or send it to all of us?
yeah, I could do that.
Because then I can pass it
Okay.
along.
But I think it's fine to extend it too. I agree. I have no problem in extending it.
So
Yeah,
Bob, we were
yeah.
talking about, go ahead, Larry.
Okay. One thing I would like to look into is these concrete seminars that a number of inspectors have taken, and that they would be qualifying for credit.
I thought we did that.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that that was actually approved, but there was two of them. There was the initial one,
And then the,
which was done, I think, within our renewal period, and then
Yep.
there was a recertification one that we had to take for guys who wanted to continue doing it, and that was done in June. So to me, both of those should qualify, and I'm not sure what we have to do to just make sure that they do.
Didn't we do that, Bob? Am I wrong? I thought we got the first one approved last year because it was last June, a year ago in 19, that they had the first round, right, Larry?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd sent the seminar, I thought I'd sent the information in and we got that approved for CEUs. Am I wrong, Bob? Do you remember that?
I don't remember. I think we did, Bruce. I mean, Bill, but I don't remember per se. I have to check the list, but
Okay.
Okay.
Why didn't you do
Okay.
that again, Bill? Why didn't you just send in a letter asking for the approval on the second one?
I don't have any information on that, Larry. Do you have like the curriculum for that or the anything from it?
Well, I can look into getting it. Yeah, the recertification. It was an online thing. Did you do it, Bruce?
Yeah, it was all day.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I
Well,
did.
no, it was 8 to 11. It was the morning.
Oh,
The first one was all day, which we actually attended.
Yeah, I did the second one too. I was on that. I got it.
Yeah,
approved.
yeah.
I got the letter saying I passed.
Right. And that your existing certificate would serve to say you were recertified.
That's right. I
Um,
got that.
But I can see, you know, just what they may have so that we can submit something to show that it's a qualified course. And then the first one was in June. I don't know that guys actually submitted that for that renewal, which was in 2019, wasn't it? June of 2019?
Right. It would have been
Yep.
in this license
So-
cycle.
So I wonder if that one could be still used, you know, for this new cycle, but maybe not.
Well, yeah, it would be because it's 19 to 21, right?
Yeah.
So it would be in this license cycle.
I think the other thing, Bill, that you might want to
Well,
talk,
I'm not sure.
you might want to talk to Kai, Bill, is that, you know, I think we should be willing to accept, you know, some CE credits if they had a Zoom meeting and somebody attended.
They didn't have any.
Yeah.
Zoom.
They're
They're going to.
Going
They're going to have
forward.
them now. Oh, yeah, I agree. I agree.
This
Yeah.
next meeting is supposedly you can
Yeah.
attend on Zoom.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so if they have education, then I think, yeah, if they can put that in as they were attending the meeting and then take the credit for that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
Yeah.
I'm fine with
Yeah.
that.
The other thing that might be helpful with regard to this cycle is to discuss with Kahi if they could plan on any type of, you know, bus trip seminar that we've had in the
Yeah.
past.
Right.
Those
I'll
are
talk to Dan about that.
those are worth a lot of credit. They're always informative and applicable. The only problem I see is the social distancing thing and, you know, filling up a bus and that kind of thing. But
Well, Larry,
um,
why do you have to fill up a bus? Everybody could just drive to the spot.
they could. That's right. Yeah.
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 Or if you
But
want
then
to
it's
couple guys,
however,
it's up
how
to
many guys they could, whoever's putting on the seminar, how
Yeah.
many guys can they allow?
That's
Right.
right, to do it socially
You know.
responsible.
well, you could do
Right.
something
Yeah.
else.
But it's something to look into, you know?
Like they did, like Larry did, remember Strawberry Bank? We did that a few years ago.
Yeah.
Outside. So you
Right.
I
could,
mean,
That's
that's out in
something-
the open.
Yeah,
Even
that's-
Sturbridge is out in the open, you know?
Sturbridge,
yeah,
right?
that-
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
I'll have
that's
to
all
do-
helpful. That's all helpful in this, just this period where these CEUs are just, hard to get. I'm not
Yeah.
really in favor of going on these online courses, if we've got to pay a lot of money to take the course. Bruce, what has been your experience with that?
It's been pretty inexpensive, I think, for like $100
Oh, yeah?
to get all your credits.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's not just one course.
No, it's all of them. You could buy a whole package for like, it's like 100,
Wow.
I forgot it, but it's not expensive, Larry.
Are there exams and all of that involved in their
Well,
courses,
yeah,
or are they just?
Yeah, they do have, you have exams throughout the course, and then there's a final exam, and they keep letting you take it over and over again until you get it right, but there are
Yeah.
exams.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, it looks like we have some options. Looks like we
I
have some
think-
options that we can discuss with Kahi and try to get, everyone in terms of inspectors, informed. So I think we have a few things that we can discuss that'll be helpful in getting the credit whenever we end up. If we can get it extended, we can get, a trip or whatever. I think we have a few options that are helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
'cause
tell
that
you,
is-
Larry,
Right.
I think that the online courses are actually more effective because they actually have you doing things where all you have to do is sit through the other ones and you get your credit. You know, a
Mhm.
lot of the C, you just sit there, no matter what you say or what you know, you get your credit. But when you take an online course with tests, you have to at least go back and look at the material and come up with the right answer, or they don't let you proceed.
Yeah. Well, but then there's guys like me that are old and we know everything and we don't want to take a test.
That's right.
But then you can take the exam again. If you take the exam and pass, you don't need the CE.
All right. Well, I'll figure it out one way or another, but
Bill, I think the other thing is that we have to think about the future, because I know myself, I go to these conventions, I get all my credits.
Yeah.
right.
And,
Right.
If we think about January, there may not be many people who want to get on a plane.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
If
right.
Kahi starts doing these by Zoom and everybody can just join Kahi, and they've got I think their renewal for this year is $100. It's low.
It is.
90, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And then you can just get them every month on a Kahi meeting. Because if they're going to do the Zoom thing. So, all right.
I've got to wrap up here soon myself.
Okay.
Where do we
I think we're
where do we
done.
stand?
Bruce, you'll send out the info on that online thing you've been doing?
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Okay. Okay.
All
Yeah,
right. Good.
That's
Yep.
basically it, isn't it? Aren't we done?
Yeah. I
Anybody-
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't have anything.
Okay.
All right.
Then
I move we adjourn. I move we adjourn.
Second it.
Let's adjourn.
Okay.
Okay, who made
Okay.
the motion? First and second?
Rich second.
Larry and Rich.
Yep.
That sounds good.
Larry, how
All
many
right, guys.
donuts have you eaten over there?
Well, I got an empty box on the floor, so, but they keep
All right,
giving me
guys.
free samples. All right. Take care, guys. Good to talk to you
All right.
guys. Take care.
Bye.
Take it easy, guys.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye.